Melbourne's Eddie Abelnica is a mainstay of the Touring Car Masters. The successful proprietor of Melbourne's cheapest cars has been competing in the category for many years and feels quite lucky to be racing against some of the worthy legends of the sport.
Jim Richards, John Bower, Glenn Seaton, Stephen Richards, just a few to name. I view them as just another competitor. I want to beat them all. I'm not sort of, obviously in awe of them, but at the end of the day, there's only one place I want to be. I want to win.
Abelnica's current mount is a 1974 Ford Falcon XB GT, and though it looks similar to any fully restored XB Falcon, it's a totally different animal beneath the body.
It started off as a road-going car and got converted over to a race car, so really the only thing left of it's probably the body shell. It's pretty much been all modernised all the way through. It's got a KRE engine in the car. It's got all Glenn Seaton suspension works in the car. It's a full race prepared motor vehicle. I've got probably as good as equipment as what I can get, and I've got some of Glenn Seaton's ex-crew helping me this year. So if it's going to happen this year, it's going to be.
The aspirations to become Touring Car Masters champion for 2016 remain high on Abelnica's agenda, but he admits the competition around him is tough.
Look, I'd love to do it, but there's obviously 7 or 8 rounds. You need to be consistent all the way through. You can't afford to have a DNF, so... But, yeah, of course, we'd love to be, at the end of the season, be on the top podium step. I'm going 4 years.
For the first time since 2012, the Touring Car Masters are back on the Shannon's Nationals program. Cam McConville, it's a great category. Great cars, great drivers, great sound. It's just awesome to have them back.
The crowd absolutely love them, Richard, and we're glad to have them as part of the Shannon's Nationals for round 1, their second round of the series.
This was race 2 a little bit early on today. The grid was based on the finishing order from race 1 on Saturday, which was a classic fight between Jim Richards and John Bower. Feisty at the start. Watch the I-Seek Tirana and the Jesus Falcon. That's Gomersall and Fisher getting stuck into each other. Meanwhile, Clipsal 500 race winner Adam Garwood took a little bit of a trip across the sand at Dandenong Road. That was Paul Freestone.
Very lucky to miss that, and Andrew Fisher, who was recovering as well. What a great battle here. Stevie J, Stevie Johnson and Jim Richards. Look at this, door to door, all the way up the back straight. It's a horsepower race.
And these things every bit as quick as a V8 supercar in a straight line, so that is very, very fast. Poor old Adam Garwood, the Tassie teenager, had a tough race, couple of spins. This was Gomersall, went really deep into turn 1, Camp, turned out just a little bit too deep.
I was going to say that is extremely deep. That's a car with downforce may go around the corner, but not the Tirana. So just not quite enough retardation. Oh, a little bit of tap from Ritter. Greg Ritter goes through as well.
So Ritter's Chevy Monza blew an engine early in the weekend, so he was starting from the back of the field and carving his way through. Greg Garwood in the Ford Capri Piranha and Cameron Tilley in the Valiant Pacer got into each other down at turn 1. But John Bower lights to flag victory and dethroned the TCM King of Sandown, that is Jim Richards, who has a remarkable record. So this is now the trophy race for Touring Car Masters, which basically reverses the grid from where they finished in race 2. So there's some different names at the front of the field. Andrew Fisher starts it from pole in the Jesus Racing GTHO Falcon. Adam Garwood, the youngster in the Tirana, starts from second. The big names, Cam, all at the back. This is going to be wild, basically.
There's a lot of pressure too on young Garwood right at the front of the field. Fisher, very experienced ute racer and also TCM. A lot of racing miles behind him. He should lead them through. Let's go on board with Stevie J. And look at that down the outside.
Look at Ritter in the Monza carving down the inside. There's Glenn Seaton, another one who had to work his way through the field. Johnson gets the big GTHO turned in. But it's Andrew Fisher leading Greg Garwood, father of Adam. So the little Ford Capri Piranha in just its second ever TCM round. And this is edge of your fingernail stuff as you go through turn 4. With some really fast cars working their way through the field.
Glenn Seaton on the inside of Stevie Johnson and then Greg Ritter behind him. So 3 big names battling it out on lap 1.
And this is 5-litre Ford versus one with a little bit more capacity. A little number 30 Mustang. Doesn't give away too much though. Maybe because he had a Chevrolet Monza pushing him along as well. Greg Ritter on the comeback trail. So great start for Andrew Fisher. That's Mark King in the White Line Racing Camaro. There's Freestone, Seaton, Ritter, Leo Tobin, really busy. Tony Karamfilowski carving his way through in that yellow Mustang. And here's Jason Gomersal.
Yeah, Jason was very quick in practice, so he was top of the timesheets in P1. Not quite as quick in qualifying, but doing a lot more racing these days. Another driver who's moved up from the V8 Utes into this last year. Oh, nice big power slide. And that's what we like about these cars. Real muscle cars that are actually muscled around Sandown this weekend. They're not treading lightly.
And isn't it cool to call names like Johnson, Bow, Richards, Seaton, great classic names. There are 4 former Sandown 500 winners in this grid. It's remarkable stuff.
Just a few miles around Sandown, and you've got to really be quite aggressive over the curves. A bit of understeer there, slow run.
Oh, Cameron Tilley in the Valiant Pacer. Anglam Oil on board as a new sponsor for that car this weekend and for the rest of the year. It's one of the most popular cars in the category. The 6-cylinder Hemi Pacer gives away in a bit at a straight line at a circuit like this. TCM's next round is at Winton. He cannot wait to get there in that thing because horsepower all of a sudden doesn't mean too much. He's got Eddie Abelnica behind him in the Melbourne's cheapest cars XB. Cito had to take big evasive action. So we go back and have a look at the start.
On board the Tirana, the Gomersal, so he's mid-track. Look at this, 3 wide, 4 wide. I see Cito go down the outside. The inside. There goes Greg Ritter also on the inside. There's Stevie J going down the extreme outside, and John Bow following him through as well.
He was following Al Bowen in that Mercury Comet, which is on debut in TCM. Look at the little Capri Piranha, the V8 powered Ford Capri. That thing is a rocket ship in a straight line. Big V8 small car theory there. I think everyone did a really good job.
Yeah, they did. There's Garwood on the outside trying to get through, using a bit of curb. They're all using a lot of curb through. Oh, that's going to say that was going to be a little ambitious. Fairway a little bit too far back to make that pass stick. But Fisher has bolted. He's about 2 seconds up the road.
And that is one of the fastest cars in Touring Car Masters going past the Pacer, Eddie Abelnica. At Bathurst last year, we clocked that car at a legitimate 294 kilometres an hour down Conrod Straight. It is a rocket ship. Eddie's had a pretty quiet weekend. He was on great form at Clipsal in the opening round for TCM this year, and he's riding contention for the championship you feel this season. Really busy. JB still working his way through in that Wilson Security Tirana. Here's Stephen Johnson and Steve Macarius's GTHO. This car's actually owned by Tony Karamfilowski, and they've worked really hard to put this program together for Steve to drive, and he's been getting the most out of it. Had a second and a third in the preliminary races.
It looks so strange in such an older car to see the modern helmet.
It doesn't.
It just doesn't fit. Rusty French really enjoying his racing in TCM. This time last year had a massive engine failure. Oh, that looks like Greg Ritter going around the outside, so he was being a little defensive, and that's exactly why. And then Seaton goes through now into turn 2.
And speaking of guys enjoying their racing, Stephen Johnson and Greg Ritter in particular now a little bit removed from the pressure of being a V8 supercar driver or indeed an Enduro co-driver, and just reveling in driving cool racing cars really quickly.
Slamming the gears through. That'll be a little bit different. Stevie also has done some GT racing in an Audi R8 LMS, so you couldn't get two completely different beasts if you tried.
There's Wayne Mercer, the GTHO, that's the bright blue car, followed by Eddie Abelnica. Seaton coming through. There's Rusty French in that beautiful Ford Mustang. Copped a birthday over the off-season after a big crash at Phillip Island late last year. This is father and son.
I was just going to say, he's giving him absolutely no room there. Adams had to go all the way around the outside, but I think he's going to get him.
I don't know. That Capri is a rocket ship in a straight line. I'd back that over for Holden Tirana. And look at it go. Look at it disappear. It's pulled 5 car lengths before turn 1. So Greg Garwood, Tarmac Rally racer, plenty of Target Tasmanias under his belt, pulling away from his son Adam as Eddie Abelnica continues his charge through the field.
Oh, that's a big lunge, and he let him through this time. I was going to say he was a fair way up the inside, and Greg didn't show him any favours. He closed the door, but I think he saw him coming then. Had he turned in, he might have had a bonnet of a Tirana in the door. So Adam gets through. Nice bit of driving there. Greg's going to hold them up, although he's going to do well to hold Albanica up in that absolute beautiful car. But couldn't quite close in.
And Cameron Tilley in the game here as well with Greg Ritter, and they've all driven very, very well. A lot of respect shown between the faster guys working their way through in this field. We should mention the way the points format works in this race. It's your big score in races 1 and 2 that will decide the round. So as long as you start and finish this race, your race 1 and 2 results will decide the round. So the way they're running at the moment, it will be JB winning overall. And Tony Karamfilowski, after a couple of superb races, 4th in races 1 and 2, looks likely to get the Pro-Am class victory. He's been on great form. This race for show, but you feel like it's for a little bit more than that. Ritter down the inside now and continues his charge forward.
Very deep under brakes. I'm pretty sure there's a bit of smoke, perhaps bellowing out of the front wheel arch of the Ritter car. Look at Albanica. He's really looking aggressive.
How's the diversity cam in TCM? So Chevy Monza, Ford Capri, Aussie Ford Falcon, Ford Mustang, Valiant Pacer. It's remarkable, isn't it? Great field.
It is, and that's what everyone loves about this series. Shannon's getting on board for this weekend too as the title sponsor. They're really behind these cars. And John Bowe, who's made a third, or I was going to say third, maybe fourth home for himself in this category over the last few years. He's just brilliant to watch. Look at him just ride the curves, and that car is very well set up. And
his enthusiasm and passion for this category is well known, and he talks about it often to his massive supporter base online as well. Here's Gomersal, the iSeek Racing Tirana. He's got Todd Hazelwood on the spanners and engineering this weekend. This car run by Matt Stone Racing, so the same team that runs Todd's V8 Supercar in the development series. And this is GDHO Falcon versus Holden Tirana. And the Tirana, with good corner exit out of the final turn, will go around the outside and might well wrestle that spot away from Wayne Mercer.
Didn't he? Just managed to hang on, so nice move. And Todd Hazelwood knows exactly what he's got to do. He's got to keep the boss happy. So he's spannering that car. Look, oh, I was going to say 2 wheels on the grass. Just forced his way through there. Albanica had the inside of the car on the grass edge. And that's a shame for Greg.
It was almost like there was a half a car width invitation that he took, wasn't there, to go up the inside. Well, they'll have a look in race control at that one, I suspect, after the race. Here's Bowe and Seaton, the Thunder Road Racing Team Ford Mustang, against that beautiful Tirana built and prepared by Gary O'Brien from Bendigo Retro Muscle Cars. 2 great drivers driving 2 very cool cars, very, very fast. Andrew Fisher continues to lead and on course for his first ever win in Touring Car Masters. He actually parked his V8 Ute to race here this weekend. Come back to that. Have a look at this, Cam. What do you think?
Oh, look, it's borderline, I've got to say. Certainly Greg possibly could have given him a little bit more room, and he was just up to the B pillar, if you want to call that, in that car. So, yeah, that one's a 50-50. Perhaps they could have got round there too wide, but they're also cars that really need to turn in and stay on line. So I might stay out of that one, leave that to the umpire.
That's fair. My only other final question is, with all the legends in this field, why aren't you in it as well? You'd be perfect for this category.
A long way off a legend, but I would love to have a drive of one of these cars, I can assure you. And you mentioned Gary O'Brien. He builds some beautiful cars, so I was actually quite close to running in that Tirana a couple of years back as it was getting built. But anyway, now I can just admire from a distance. But Andrew Fisher, he bolted at the start, and no one's got near him in this one.
It's going to be a big victory. Mark King will be second for King Springs and White Line Racing, Bob and Sharon Middleton's team. But it's a victory, a first in Touring Car Masters for Andrew Fisher and Jesus Racing. What a great drive in the Waco Trophy race in Touring Car Masters. This is Stephen Johnson, a couple of GT Falcons having at it. He's had a tremendous weekend and will be second overall, just behind John Bowe and in front of Jim Richards. Adam Garwood, fairly lurid moment coming out of the final corner and the run to the line. A great race, entertaining to see the faster cars working their way through. But it's Fisher, King, Bowe, Seaton and Abelnik at the top 5, with Garwood, Tilley, Freestone, Gomersal and Stephen Johnson rounding out the top 10 in the Touring Car Masters here at Sandown.
The team did a good job. Car was compliant, and we basically stayed out of trouble all weekend, so I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, look, fantastic. Our first win in the Touring Car Masters Championship, so great way to start the season. Good for our championship as well, so really happy with the result. Great bunch of guys to race against, legends of the motorsport, and to have a win, take those home and very happy. Cheers.
It's always a good day when you beat the likes of John Bowe and Jim Richards. Here's the points Cam, Pro-Master, JB in front of Stevie J with Eddie Abelnika consistent in third. Pro-Am will have Jason Gomersall in top. But great to have this category as part of the Shannons Nationals.
Yeah, certainly is, and we look forward to seeing them back again throughout the championship. Cameron Tilley there. Greg Keane at the very bottom of the Pro Sport points, been a big supporter of this, and Adam Garwood leads the way in that series.
Tremendous racing in the Touring Car Masters. They're back at Phillip Island later in the year with the Shannons Nationals.